you should always collect, or okay, it's better to start it that way. Everybody is inspired by other people's music. So, I don't know, I like that artist, you like that artist, you like that genre, I like that genre, whatever. And you always listen to a certain genre, and if you are into production, you will go into a certain direction. So if you are interested in breakbeat, you will listen to breakbeat, and you will produce breakbeat. If you're interested in techno, you will listen to techno and produce techno. That means that you have your favorite artists. So you should not only listen to the tracks of your favorite artists, you should analyze them. How do you do that?
Listen to them carefully.
Listen to them carefully. Okay, how much do you remember if you just listen?
You have to go step by step.
Okay, you have to write it down. And you have to analyze every beat of the actual song, because you will be surprised how much is going on in a, let's say, a minimal, properly produced minimal techno track. Somebody will say it's just a kick, snare, hi-hat, bass line, few transitions and one additional sound. True, but how these sounds are organized is another matter entirely. So you have to figure out the formula. I personally started analyzing pop songs because I did produce, and I still produce, a lot of music that is played on the radio, and basically it's very commercial. But pop music is usually even more complex arrangement-wise and has more elements than club music, even though if we think about complexity, it is equally the same. It is equally difficult to create a minimal techno track, proper minimal techno track, than a proper pop song. In a way, you need to have certain skills. And I was always interested why those pop songs are successful. And I started analyzing them like beat by beat. And back in the days, I just took paper like this, and I just put it on a table. And I did a timeline of a whole song. So this is start of the song, end of the song. And I took a paper and I divided it in blocks. So this is first 8 bars or 16 bars or whatever. How much, I mean, you can choose the precision you will analyze the actual track. And then I just listen. For the first bars in the track, there is kick, bass, snare, blah, 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 these instruments. And then at the end, we have a small transition. In the second part, we have that and that and that. It is basically the same. The only difference is that on the bass, filter slightly opens. Then to the next bar, to the next bar, to the next bar, and I actually analyzed whole song, like what are the building blocks and how is the structure made. And here I wrote comments, everything I heard, every comment regarding the track. And then I just glued those papers together, and I had a long paper, and I just sticked it in the wall, on the wall in the studio. And I did that on several tracks. And every time when I was producing something, I analyzed several tracks that were in the style. So if I was producing, I don't know, a pop dance song, I checked the current hits, the current trends, and I analyzed them and glued them on the wall. And then you follow the structure. And then you analyze your own track and you compare it to the structure of a current hit. And you know what is missing, element-wise. So you find out that a pop song can have many, many transitions, much more complex chord changes, much more complex vocal arrangements, whatever. If you don't analyze it and if you just listen to it and you don't write it down, you will forget it. you won't remember it. But when you write it down and you put it on a wall, and then you are working, for example, on a second chorus on your own track, you look on the wall and you say, Lady Gaga has this kind of structure, Katy Perry has this kind of structure, Rihanna has this kind of structure. Basically, they have all the pretty much same number of elements, it's just different arrangement. And then you look at your song and say, oof, I don't have that. Oof, I don't have that. My chord change is really primitive if I compare it to the other one, etc., etc., etc. So you are not stealing. You are just comparing your work to the current stuff out there. And this is basically self-criticism. If you are capable of looking at other people's tracks and you can say, this is really, really good, I don't know how to do it, but I will try to figure it out. Because it's not the problem, it's not that easy as you just do a track analysis, you glue it in the wall, and then you just copy everything and you will have the same track. It doesn't work like that. When you try to copy the arrangement, then the problems really begin. Because you figure it out that I don't know how to do it. It's really, really simple. I can hear it, but how can I do that? And then the work starts. Because we all know, everyone that ever produced a track knows that the biggest fun of producing or writing a song, better word is writing, is when you start writing. When you have a loop and you are adding sound and it's fun. But the problems start when you have to extend this 16-bar loop to a 7-minute song, which has an intro, I would say in a pop structure, intro, first verse, bridge, chorus, second verse, bridge, chorus, breakdown, chorus, chorus, which is the most common arrangement. And when you have to extend that loop to a duration of, if we were talking about electronica, 7 to 8 minutes, and you extend your loop and you figure out, I don't have nothing, it's boring, nothing is going on. Because as a loop, it functions, but it's not functioning when you extend it to 7 or 8 minutes. And then you just go to your analysis and you just check it. So first 16 bars in this song, this is really, really successful song. It's #1 on Beatport. I know that it works in a club, arrangement-wise, and you just start applying the formula from other tracks to your own track as much as you can. And this takes time. And you will find out that besides few exceptions who are capable of creating a track in several hours, majority of people spend a lot of time on writing on one song. All the good songs have a lot of work behind them, and if they don't have a lot of work in terms of time spent on a production, they have usually a lot of experience, meaning that the person who is capable of doing something in 5 hours probably is doing that for 15 or more years. So he knows all the formulas, and he knows where he has to stop and what kind of elements are needed for a song that it will work. Okay, questions? Okay, who did track analysis like that? Ever?
I did not in this way, but I was also writing parts of songs and what I'm missing.
Okay.
And actually, when I'm doing the editing of my track, I use the track for a comparison. So I listen to the first part is the same point as this one, but I think this one is better because you write down and you remember better what to put next time. So it's
this is good because you have constant visual feedback. Sometimes I don't do that as much because I did it so many times that I can listen but I still do it in Workstation, meaning that I import the track and I just cut it, and then I just listen in loop to certain parts and try to figure out what is going on. But the best tactic is to import it anyway to your Workstation, edit it, and then copy the edits to the paper and glue it to the wall. So every time you will find yourself, okay, I don't know what to do with this track, what is missing, you can just go and maybe you can just take photos, save it, and you have it visually on your computer if you don't have space on the wall or whatever. But from experience, if you write down, it is the best, and you also remember much better. You remember those parts, and we will analyze a track later. I bought #1 on Beatport Techno Chart, Series D, and it's a really, really simple track, but when you analyze it, it's not fun anymore.